In this special episode, we'll be bringing you all of the best bits of Show Me the Money on Wednesday. If you have a deal right now and you don't know the best way to structure it, post it in the community group on Facebook called the Property Crash Course, and Ryan will help you unlock hidden profits, saving you from locking yourself into a loss on those bad deals that every property sourcer wants you to buy. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let us know what you think at @RyanOttoX and leave a review.
Hey podcasters, what's happening? I'm just sitting here right now on Brighton Beach. Oh, there's a boy doing a backflip right next to me. There's people everywhere. It's bank holiday weekend. The sun is out. It's like the lockdown, or the main lockdown, has more or less come to an end. So now you can socialize unlimited. Clearly what's happening now in Brighton, it's like Cannes. It's like the French Riviera. I love this place. It's a place that's very close to my heart. I've been here, financially invested here, emotionally invested here since, mid-90s, okay? And, just love being here in Brighton. I'm sitting outside a building that we used to have the penthouse apartment in. Now we've just acquired, actually, as it happens today, just got the keys to another apartment in that building, which is also another holiday rental. And again, we didn't buy it. We didn't have to get a mortgage. We didn't have to really put any money down. And it's making money for us as a holiday rental, as a corporate let, okay? Now, this episode is about money. There is money everywhere. There is money all around us. We've all been in a lockdown for so long. There's been the quarantine. That was more or less lifted somewhat, last week on the Wednesday. And now it's bank holiday weekend. Brighton is back in business, back to normal. I mean, people-wise, not shops open, which are opening very soon, etc., etc. I'm sitting right on the seafront now, just having a nice little coffee. I've got my cigar. I've got some batteries I just bought from Asda. I'm using my mini, what am I using? The HN1 recorder while I'm out and about, just to get this episode down for you guys right now. This is about money, this episode, because I'm constantly asked by people, by investors, by entrepreneurs about money. How can I make more money? Oh, there's someone having a barbecue on the Hove lawns right now. There is thousands of people here. There's thousands of people here. Okay, so people are constantly asking me, especially since the lockdown, how can I make money? Only today I was talking to someone who's in the hotel business. They've got a hotel, they have money, they had money. Obviously everybody is nervous from what's happened and what's happening. The hospitality industry can only really get worse. The world economy is going to get worse before it gets better. So yes, people should be... Wow, nearly done a double backflip, this guy. Brighton is on fire right now. Brighton is on fire. You need to get down here, you guys. Anyways, so yes, everybody should be concerned about money and about their finances and how to get more money, how to make more money, how to attract more money. Now, one thing I would say to those guys, or to anybody listening right now who wants more money for whatever the reason may be, to maybe just cover your expenses, maybe to pay your bills, maybe to grow your company, maybe to keep your company going if it's struggling, maybe you've lost your job, maybe you want to increase your income, maybe there's something you want to save for any reason at all. If anybody needs more money, I'm going to give you the easiest, the quickest, the fastest way that you can make money right now in 2020, even in the aftermath of this pandemic. It's got nothing to do with the pandemic, but it's the aftermath of the pandemic. Now, I mention that deliberately because I go deep in another episode and explain that we had some problems with some advertising, some marketing that we've done recently. And we've done for the last 4 years, to be honest, in this part of the world. And we were, some people got the wrong end of the stick and thought we were profiteering off of the NHS. That we're not. We don't rent to the NHS at all. And it ended up becoming a story in a newspaper. and then an MP got involved, and then it was very complicated, etc., etc. We had to get lawyers involved, and the story was redacted or pulled from even being published literally just a few hours before it's going to press. But that's for another episode. So money, right now, the best way I know to share with everybody here to make money. Now, you've probably been listening to my other episodes where I go on and on and on about some particular property investment strategies which have saved me from, recessions. They've saved me from, the verge of bankruptcy. They've saved me from, they've basically saved my bank from going to zero multiple times. They've enabled me to build my company, grow my company, and basically achieve everything and anything that I wanted, even to raise deposits for buying properties, okay? Now, that's this particular strategy you've probably heard me talking about a lot. But if you haven't done it yet, if you're not using it yet, if you haven't got the confidence yet, if you haven't taken that next step yet, if you've listened to all of my other episodes, you've followed me on social media, you've listened to the videos, you've watched the videos, listened to the podcast, and you're still waiting for that light bulb moment, that aha moment, which I hope is right now the way you hear this episode. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, it's the May bank holiday. I want this to be the turning point for you guys, that you finally actually stop listening and do something. Take action on this strategy, because there's a window of opportunity. There's a shelf life. This strategy will go away like anything. Everything starts off being amazing, where you get the most returns, the highest income, the maximum profit, and then some more people find out and they start. And then the margins get squeezed a little bit. Then another season goes by, and then more people get involved. More investors do this. More people start to teach this because they can't be bothered to do it themselves because they're just fucking lazy, or they'd rather sell fucking courses instead of actually doing these fucking deals. And then they're selling the how to do this. And then the next season comes along. And then the people selling the how to do this sell it to somebody who tries to do this, works out it's too hard for them because the person who sold them the how to do this isn't really actually doing these fucking deals, or they may have done one fucking deal and now they're like, that's too hard, or they haven't been taught properly, so they would rather sell the how to do the deals instead of actually doing these types of fucking deals. And then it gets harder, and then more people get in, then more people are selling the crap, and then more people are selling products and digital this and training and coaching and everything else they can sell, which I don't understand, because information is fucking free. You guys could Google it instead of buying their shitty courses. Anyway. And then more people get in, then more people, another season goes by, then everyone's making money, it's getting less and less and less, then the government gets involved, then everybody starts to regulate it, and then it becomes a council regulation, and then it becomes a government regulation, and then all the margins get squeezed, there's not a lot of money left in it, and then it turns into like fucking HMO. Like, HMO has been good to me. There's many things which are bad about HMO. There's lots of red tape to jump through. But yes, we do make money from HMOs, and I've got dozens or multiple HMOs and dozens and dozens and dozens of HMO tenants. But who wants to get into a market that's that regulated like HMO, okay? This is not HMO. I'm talking about every £1,000 of rent that we pay, we exchange it for £3,000 every single month. This is consistently in 5 different cities. We're now in 6 cities. This is across 6 different cities since 2016. This isn't just one season. This isn't just the summer. This isn't just the high season like May to September or something like that. This is all year round. We're renting properties from landlords. We're renting properties from investors. We're renting properties from anybody who has a property to rent. Now, we don't have to put a mortgage deposit down. In fact, we've actually put £250 down only on this property that I'm sitting outside right now while I'm delivering this episode to you guys on Brighton Beach. It's a beachfront property. You got sea views. You can see the pier. You can see the bandstand. You can see the Hove Lawns. You can see the I-360. You can see everything from this apartment. I put 250 deposit down. Not 25 grand, £250. And paid 1 month's rent in advance. That's it. Now, this property will generate probably in the region of about £1,000 net profit right now, okay, each month. But if I bought the property, went through the rigmarole of solicitors and jumping through the hoops and getting a mortgage and a mortgage deposit and everything else and the shenanigans that goes with it to buy a property, and then got a massive mortgage and everything else, and put 25, well, yeah, probably more than 25 grand. This flat's probably worth about 325 grand. So let's say, you put 20%, 60 odd grand, 65 grand mortgage deposit to make the same fucking money. Who in their right mind would do that? Who in their right mind would want to put 65 grand down to make the same amount of money that you need to put £250 down on? £250 deposit and 1 month's rent. That is it. Now, this property will probably make in the region of £1,000 a month all year round on average, okay? Sometimes more, sometimes less, but at least let's just leave it at the benchmark. Usually my properties make a lot more money than that. A lot more money than that. I'm being conservative. I'm being modest. Let's just say it makes £1,000 a month, okay? Why would anybody in their right mind not want to use this strategy? Why would anybody want to put 60 odd grand of a mortgage deposit in to make the same amount of money? That's just madness. If you're interested in capital growth, which would be the only argument, that's a bonus, guys. Something Robert Kiyosaki taught me in the year 2000. You cannot invest for capital growth. That's a bonus. You have to make cash flow. Every single month you're in the deal. Cash flow. Grant Cardone says this. Cash flow. Robert Kiyosaki says this. Cash flow. Every smart entrepreneur, business person, property expert says this. Cash flow every single month. Because if you're relying on just capital appreciation, that's a bonus. There's no guarantee that's going to happen. There's no guarantee the market is going to double. We can look back on historical data, and yes, it's doubled every 7 to 10 years since 1942, around about 7% a year. There's peaks, there's troughs. However, like Gary Vee says, the future market has got nothing to do with what's happened in the past. The future market, let me repeat that. What happens in the future, the markets, have actually got nothing to do with what's happened in the past. So if you're always basing your investments on what's happened in the past, that can only take you so far. It can only take you so far. Imagine going all in, investing all of your money and everything, and 60 odd £1,000 deposit to get the same amount of money, £1,000 a month. But then you're relying on capital growth and it doesn't grow for the next 10 years, or grows a tiny bit. There could be a massive correction. There could be some massive regulation. There could be some massive legislation in the property market, which they've been hammering for the last few years, the war against landlords. If you're looking to invest for just capital growth, there's other deals that you can take that gamble on in that sense. But if you're looking for money, for cash flow every single month, this is the number one strategy that saved me since around about 2005. Every time I've needed money, this strategy. In the aftermath of the 2008 crash, this strategy saved me. Before the 2008 crash, this strategy saved me. That's renting a property, paying one rent, even the market rent, and then having permission, having consent to sublet that property, and then I take it out of one market, which is the AST rental market, and all I do is put it into the holiday, the hotel market. Now we're achieving £3,000 a month for every £1,000 of rent that we pay. We don't have to buy it. We don't need a mortgage deposit. We don't have to put a deposit down, get any credit, have any finance, jump through red tape, don't have to use solicitors. You could have the worst credit in the world. You can even be bankrupt. It really makes no difference to rent a property from a landlord, take it out of one market, which is an AST market, put it into the hotel holiday rental market. That's what we do. There's websites out there, booking.com, Airbnb. Booking.com keep us filled at 84% all year round. 84% all year round. And we pay them around about 20% for that, which we get back from the properties. We get it back from the upsells. We get it back from the minibars. We get it back from the early check-ins. We get that 20% back from the late checkouts. We get that 20% back from the parking, which we charge the guests. So let's just say the booking fees are completely gone. They're completely free. And they keep us filled at 84% all year round. Are you guys getting this? Are you guys hearing what I'm saying? Does this make sense to you guys listening right now? I can't say it. I can't encourage you enough. I'm just sitting outside the building right now that we've just leased from the owner. They've put the mortgage deposit in. They've renovated the apartment. They've furnished the apartment. They've put everything in the apartment, even towels, everything. They've cut all the keys. Every single thing has been done for them to rent the property as a holiday let. They've put £60,000 deposit in. They've spent all the time and effort finding the property and going through the legals and putting the deposits down and mortgage applications and solicitors and waiting 3 months to complete, and they pay all the taxes and they pay for the maintenance, they pay for everything else and all the other crap that comes with home ownership or even buy-to-let ownership. And we're making more fucking money than them every single month, every single day, every single minute we're making more money than them. Every single second we're making more money than the person who bought the property, than the person who took all the risk, than the person that has the mortgage, than the person whose name is written on the title deeds. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? We're making more money than the owner on this particular property, their particular property, just because we're smart. We're using the most up-to-date, the highest cash-flowing property investment strategies that give you maximum income and minimal risk. Who wants that? Maximum income and minimal risk, okay? I just hope that you guys understand the power of this particular strategy. Renting a property from a landlord. Every £1,000 of rent that we pay, we're collecting £3,000 every single month. Paying the £1,000 a month to the landlord. Collecting the gross of the £2,000 a month. Of course, we have some costs. That's up to us to get down. That's up to us to systemize. Yes, this is a real business. No, it's not easy, because if it was easy, everybody would be cashing in and making an extra £2,000 every single month above the market rent. Right now, and I'm going to walk you through a particular deal structure. It's quite different, it's quite unique, it's something that we've been doing more and more and more of since the coronavirus, during the pandemic, and before the coronavirus. To be absolutely honest, it's something that I had thought about, it's something that I had considered, but it's not actually something that I had put into practice. Not until, until the pandemic, until the coronavirus. So I'm just going to walk you through this deal structure that's working for us right now. So, you know, this is exactly what we're doing right now. We've had a lot of success from this, negotiating a lot of deals from this, reaching out to more people from this, expanding the network from this, and breaking into a different industry, which is the hotel industry, which is the boutique guest house industry, which is, very large properties industry, where, any of these buildings that we're working with right now, negotiating and, structuring joint ventures with, they're actually generating, they're not generating, they're actually accommodating up to about 70 people, up to about 70 guests. So compared to our usual apartments or apartment blocks, service accommodations, smaller properties, studios, 1 beds, 2 beds, 3 bed flats, 4 bed houses, 5, 6, all the way up to 8 bedroom houses, which is our usual property, usual deal structure. What I'm talking about with you guys right now is where we're breaking into much larger properties, much bigger properties. You know, they're worth a lot more money. They're the entire blocks, the entire buildings. They're hotels, they're boutique hotels, they're guest houses, boutique guest houses. I'm talking about large properties that can accommodate up to 70 people. Some deals that we're working on right now, you know, with the owners or partnering with the owners, or even leasing the buildings, or, you know, some of the buildings back from the owners. Now, like I said, this is something that's just come to fruition during the coronavirus. Obviously, you know, my company had to pivot. We had, you know, dozens and dozens and dozens of properties all empty at the exact same time, which is around about, well, the 23rd of March. I was looking on my phone as it happens for a file, and the 29th of March, by that time, with it, you know, what's that, 6 days from the 23rd lockdown, 29th of March, we'd been in the properties, recorded videos in every single property that we had, so we can do video viewings, send them out to people, send them out to guests, send them out to clients, send them out to companies, send them out to anybody who needed accommodation, which, to be totally honest, was a troubling, worrying, difficult, stressful time. I mean, I had to work as probably the hardest I've ever worked in that week, or for that month, to be fair, to make sure that I could plug the leak, plug the leak, while literally I was bleeding cash from everywhere. No bookings, all the bookings cancelled. I'm talking about my short-let portfolio. I'm talking about my service accommodation portfolio. I'm talking about the short stay portfolio, where we have guests from 1 night, 3 nights, 1 week, which is a typical client. Okay, so as the coronavirus happened, the pandemic, the lockdown, absolutely everything on that side of the business was completely empty and, you know, bleeding cash every single day. So obviously we worked hard to get them filled, but this new opportunity came out of that, on the back of that, because what I found was, obviously everybody in service accommodation was struggling, or it came to a complete grinding halt. And on the back of that, we've made a lot of money. We've entered into new deals, new joint ventures, you know, found new people to work with, new partners, new friends, new colleagues, new flats, new houses that we've taken on, some with joint ventures, some we've just, you know, taken over because they were just empty. And my model of direct bookings and, you know, having people book direct, you know, key workers, essential workers, critical workers, you know, construction workers, Southern Water workers, British Gas, Transco engineers, security guards. I mean, it's endless to the clients that we've now been working with, you know, which has been probably 95% of our business all the way up until now, and it's the 31st of May. So those are the only people we've been working with. Now, what that has brought for my business is it's found new opportunities where, as you can imagine, hotels, what have hotels been doing? Nothing. They've been completely closed. Guest houses, what have they been doing? Nothing. They've been completely closed. Bed and breakfasts, they've been completely closed. I mean, you know, we've had literally hotels, guest houses, bed and breakfast, boutique hotels, huge, large properties coming across my desk like every few days. Do you want to buy this? Do you want to lease this? Do you want to fill this? Can you fill this? Can you partner with them? You know, is there anything you can do? You know, you got clients, can you put some of them in here, etc. All of these owners, you know, hoteliers, you know, guest house owners, B&B owners have been coming to me from agents and, you know, people and partners that I work with and friends that I work with and colleagues saying, you know, you're filling your properties. We know you're having success with, you know, filling all of the service accommodation because I've been taking their service accommodation properties from them. You know, I've been doing deals with them, getting them at very, very good numbers, very, very low rates. But they're technically worthless during this pandemic unless you can fill them. There is no point even paying £1,000 a month for a flat or a house that used to rent for £3,000 a month if you haven't got a tenant for it, or the tenant you have got isn't paying the rent. So it's absolutely pointless unless you actually know what you're doing. unless you can actually fill it, unless you can actually make money from it right now. Otherwise, it's completely pointless. So these aren't assets in their mind, they're actually liabilities. Now, the great thing is I enjoy that. Well, I don't enjoy them struggling. What I mean by that is I enjoy the fact that they see it as a liability, but because of 20 years of experience and finding the nuances, finding the angles, thinking differently, thinking outside the box, thinking laterally, we've managed to fill them, keep them filled all the way through the pandemic. I wouldn't say we've made more money now. We've obviously made more money because we've added stock, added properties, added investment opportunities to the portfolio, but we're paying less and they are renting for less. That's the brutal honest. And it's not been easy. It's been very difficult. It's been very stressful, but it's working, or it worked, and it is working and working, which is why we're adding more properties, which is why we're looking for more deals, which is why we're getting referred more and more deals every single week. So we found those angles, we found those nuances, and they're working. So this particular deal structure is hotels. We're having hoteliers, guest house owners, bed and breakfast owners, large commercial property owners. I mean, big holiday homes that can accommodate like 10, 15, 20 people, big guest houses, some hotels that can accommodate 70 people, 70 guests. And these owners have come to me and said, look, I've got this building, I've got this property, I've got zero money coming in, can you help me? So what I've put together, this structure, which really does work right now, is, as you can imagine, in the low season, most hotels, guest houses, they maybe break even during the low season, with the view that in the summer is where they thrive. April, May, June, July, August, all the way through September. Excuse me, and maybe a little spike in December as well. That's what we've always found, okay? So they know that that is their market. They know that that's where they make the most amount of money, and they know that all they need to do is get through the winter, get through the low season, cut the fat, keep the costs down. The occupancy is very, very low. I'm just opening a drink here while I'm driving. Don't worry, it's not alcohol. It's actually Pellegrino, the Italian sparkling drinks, blood orange this one is. So just bear with me 1 second. Ah, that's beautiful. So these owners have come to me saying they was expecting the summer. The summer's been cancelled because of what's happened, the pandemic, the coronavirus. The occupancy is dead. And when it does come back from July the 4th, there's going to be constraints, there's going to be restrictions. They can't open their restaurants, they can't really do breakfast unless they have everyone 2 meters apart. It's a logistical nightmare. It's a massive loss. They've written this season off, basically. So they've come to me and they've said, look, we got through the winter, just about to get started, March, this happens. This season's written off. Now we're facing another even bleaker winter. The winter's going to be even bleaker than last year. So what can we do together? Now, what I'm structuring is different things with different hotels, different guest houses, only because they've all got different needs. Now, what I would prefer is just to lease the entire building, the entire guest house, the entire boutique hotel, the entire massive commercial property. That takes 70 people. I would rather just lease the whole thing, because I know my model, I know what's working, I know how to fill them during the low season, and I know exactly what needs to be done, okay? We've been doing it in 6 different cities since 2016, this particular model, and it works. So that's what I would prefer, to lease the entire building. Especially now when they've got zero income coming in, they're more, susceptible to, a mutually beneficial deal. I'm not talking about ripping them off and paying them something that is, unsustainable, which doesn't even cover their bills. That wouldn't work, or that would, run out very fast. I'm talking about a mutually beneficial deal. Numbers have to work for them. Numbers have to work for me, so there's a margin, so I can obviously make money as well, because nobody wants to work through the winter for free, especially even through the summer for free. Nobody wants to work for free. So that's what I would prefer, leasing the entire building. One of them I have on the, working with right now, which had a different hotel chain, a different booking company, a different agency which leased the rooms from them and then filled the rooms and paid them some kind of commission structure. That company has fallen apart. That company has basically gone, to shit. That company is now fucked. Because that company is now fucked, which isn't the hotel, it's a separate company which leases back hotels and fills the rooms. They have not paid their guaranteed rents. They have not paid their lease premiums. They have not kept to their contract. They just don't give a fuck because right now they can't afford it and they're bleeding cash everywhere. Every single one of their hotels in every single part of the world at the exact same time, more or less, give or take a week or so, is closed. No revenue coming in, and they still have rent, still have lease premiums, still have costs going out every single month. So they've run out of money. They've burnt cash. They're finished. It's not a good thing that they've finished, but it's brought an opportunity where the people are now coming to me, coming to my company saying, these guys are gone. Can you basically replace them? Can you give me what they were supposed to give me? Or can we do a better deal, a new deal? So what I'm looking at and what I'm doing right now is I'm leasing some rooms from hotels, from guest houses, from B&Bs, from boutique hotels, boutique guest houses. I'm leasing some rooms on 28-day terms. So basically I'm leasing rooms at a fixed price for the whole month. Some they're doing the linen, some my team is doing the linen, We're administering everything in between. Now, obviously, it makes no difference to me or my company if I'm leasing a studio, if I'm leasing a 1-bedroom flat, if I'm leasing a 2-bedroom flat, a 3-bedroom house, an 8-bedroom HMO, or a boutique hotel that takes 70 guests. It makes no difference to me whatever I'm leasing. If it makes money, it makes money. If we know how to fill it, we know how to fill it, So I'm leasing rooms and I'm paying a fixed rate to the hotel or the boutique or the guest house or the B&B for that particular room. Now, the same strategy, the same tactic, the same responsibility as guaranteed rent. If it sits empty, I still pay it. If it's at 100% occupancy, I still pay the set rate. If I'm paying, say, £1,000 a month to them, and I'm getting £1,750 a month, the £750 is my net. That's my profit, gross profit. If I'm paying £500 a month for a room and I'm renting it for £1,000, that £500 on that one room is my profit. Now, of course, we have to fill it. Of course, we have to do all the hard work. Of course, we've got to keep it filled. Of course, we've got to look after the guests. Of course, somebody has to do the linen. Some we're negotiating that they do it. Some we're getting or paying a higher rate and they do it. Some we pay a lower rate for the room. Just like no frills, just the room, and we do it. So it varies, And then we have some joint ventures. Some joint ventures where we're working with a big guest house right now, or a big building right now that has a lot of rooms. It accommodates a lot of people. The building's worth around about 6.5 million. And the deal that we're putting together right now is they live for the weekends. They know that the weekends is where their bread and butter is. So what they're looking to do is not go through another low season, the winter where they're at best breaking even on the weekdays. I'm talking Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. At best, they used to break even. Now they know they're going to be making a loss. So their operational costs are going to cost more than what it would cost. Basically, it will cost more to be open in the weekdays than it would to be closed. This is a position that some hotels are in, some guest houses are in, some B&Bs. This is the reality of where they are now. Because they know their numbers, they know what happened last season, they know they didn't even get the summer, they know what this low season is going to be like. That's where the opportunities are found. Because I'm doing deals with these guys, negotiating deals with these guys, where my company will lease Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday checkout. Check in Monday, check out Friday. That's 4 nights, 5 days. My company will lease the entire building for those days to fill their voids. Now, as you can imagine what I just said, They would rather close than open because they know their operational costs, if they opened, are more than what it would cost if they stayed closed. And they're now just relying on building up the weekend business. But my company, because we have Monday to Friday workers, Monday to Friday key workers, Monday to Friday contractors, Monday to Friday emergency workers, critical workers, we have language students, we have, even holiday makers, people on short-term contracts, people that work in the city during the week and go home on the weekends. So that fits perfectly, or my model fits perfectly, or it dovetails into their business, where I can get these hotels, the entire building, for less than a couple of £100 a night. It's unimaginable. Less than a couple of £100 a night for the entire building, and this particular building can accommodate 35 guests. Less than a couple of £100 a night, okay? That's what we're working with right now for Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, checkout Friday. So my model is lease these rooms or lease the entire building for as long as possible. Do what my company does best, which is keep those rooms filled. Now, we know our risk is mitigated because we can obviously do the work ourselves. We can, get my team, housekeepers, etc., manage the bookings. We've already got the infrastructure, whether it's an apartment, whether it's a house, whether it's rooms in a HMO that we've got, and we've got dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of those professional rooms, dozens of students' rooms, etc. So we're just plugging their building in to our existing model. Now, the difference here is you might be thinking, how can I make money and they don't make money? In the hotel business, as you can imagine, if they even pay £50 for a night, okay, which is good money and reasonable in this particular city during the low season, it would probably cost in the region of about £15 to £20 for linen and cleaning on that room. So that 50 quickly goes down to 30. From that 30, there's other operational costs, there's damage, there's admin, there's everything else. So it might only make, £20, if that, or generate £20 gross. Sorry, after the deductions, not gross. So do they really want to open for £20? When you look at £20, then you look at 10 rooms, that's £200 for the night, okay? Now that's around about what they've offered it to us at, £200, which is more than they would get if they opened, and they've got to run a whole team, they've got to run the bookings, they've got to run the admin, someone's got to check them in, someone's got to check them out, they've got admin costs, they've got booking fees on the booking platforms, which are more or less closed or non-existent, they've got cleaning costs, they've got housekeeping costs, they have linen costs, cleaning, absolutely everything else. So that's how my offer, at around about £200 for a night for the entire building, which has got a kitchen, people can dine downstairs if, that was dying, not die. They can dine downstairs if the government opens that back up. And my model, my strategy is get people in for 2, 3, 4 nights at a time and just completely forget the one-nighters. There's no money in the one-nighters. So as long as, because the cleaning, the linens, the changeovers and the admin, so as long as we can, which I'm confident that we can, and what is already working in my other buildings, as long as I can get people in for 2, 3, 4 nights and block them out every single month, across the course of the month, they come on Mondays, they leave on Fridays. Come on Monday, leave on Thursday. Come on Tuesday, leave on Friday. Come on Monday, leave on Wednesday. As long as I can do that and keep the occupancy up, then there's very good money to be made in leasing these entire hotels. That's during the week, that's even all weekend, 7 days a week. Like I said, some are just leasing rooms to us, 7 days a week. Some are leasing the entire building to us, 7 days a week. Some are leasing the building to us, but only on Mondays to Friday. Check in Monday, check out Friday. So we have different deals with different providers. Some are even offering to just joint venture with us. So just joint venture to fill their rooms, and obviously we just get a fee instead. I don't like that. I would rather just lease the room. They get a certain amount of money, lease as many rooms as we can in the building, if not the whole building, and everything we make on top, we work harder, they get what they're happy with, and we get the difference, okay? Now, that's one particular strategy, guys, that's working right now in the pandemic. We're only in May, and as you can imagine, or you're probably thinking, it's illegal to travel. That's correct. Guests cannot just stay out of their house for one night or overnight at the moment. It is illegal for holidaymakers. Hotels, where the difference is and the angle is, all they're thinking about is holidaymakers. All they're thinking about is guests. All they're thinking about is people traveling, and it's illegal, so they can't even open. So when I come along with my offer that we have key workers, we have contractors, we have builders, we have Southern Water workers, we have security guards, we have, anyone who's a key worker or critical worker that's allowed to work right now, that's in the city, on business, working, wherever they are, those are our clients. Those are the holy grail right now, and that's all we've really done, or 95% of what we've done since the 23rd of March. So when I come along with this offer to a hotel that has no guests, they can't have any guests at all until at the earliest, early mid-July, which may be put back, and then there's restrictions, and then people are nervous, and then they don't really want to travel, and then they're at 30% occupancy. So this offer I'm giving them right now is worth a lot more than what they could do on their own. And that's just by amalgamating two markets, which I'm very good at. We take properties out of the AST market, put them into the hotel market. That turns £1,000 of rent in the AST market into £3,000 of revenue in the hotel market. Now that model is upside down, it's not really working. So we're doing something backwards. We're taking hotels out of the hotel market, we're putting them into the corporate letting market, those rooms. Taking a hotel, reversing or switching the strategy that we normally do, and turning it into a corporate letting strategy, okay? Where we don't have guests, we have permitted workers, we have key workers, we have contractors, we have anybody who's allowed to work right now, which is what the hotels aren't thinking about. So we're taking one model and backing it up and reversing it into another model that we have, which works right now, guys.
Let me step in real quick. I share a ton of business and investment tactics on this show, and it's a shame that there's no interaction on a platform like this, which is why I've created a Facebook community group called Property Crash Course, where I get to answer all of your questions. So you just post a deal or post a question, and I'll show you where the money is in your deal or answer your question for you. So help me to help you and your business right now by asking me anything you need help with. Does that sound fair? Just go to Facebook and then search the groups and then type in Property Crash Course.
So let me share with you right now a quick win, a tactic, a hack, you could say. I'm not really a huge fan of the hacks, because I don't want you to think everything is quick, everything is fast, everything is easy, because it's not. It's business, it's entrepreneurship. Things take time. You need to have the knowledge, you need to have the experience, etc., etc. But this is, an opportunity right now, you could say, in the market in 2020. We're now in June, and this is working right now, and we're having lots of success with it. Okay. Now, if you've heard me mention this before in another episode, or something similar, it's because we're doing more and more and more and more and more of these particular deals right now. As we're coming to the end of the pandemic, well, as if we could say we're coming to the end, as we're coming to the end of the first lockdown, we could say, there is masses of opportunities out there right now in property where you can make real money. So apologies if you think I'm repeating myself. This is just another week and another few deals that we have done since the last time we spoke about this episode, the last time I spoke about this tactic, since the last time I spoke about this strategy, which is working right now. So any of my listeners, my audience, people that follow my content, this is working, and I just want you guys to get the motivation, get some inspiration, go out after listening to this episode and make some fucking money from property while you can. Okay, guys, while you can.
This really is the low-hanging fruit. Okay, so let's get straight into this. Right, properties on the market to rent right now. If you're thinking of holiday rentals, furnished holiday lets, corporate relocations, if you're renting to companies, renting to contractors, renting to key workers, anybody who you want to rent to right now on a short-term contract. Now, typically, usually before the pandemic, you have to pay the first month's rent. You have to pay the deposit. You have to jump through lots of hoops if you're working with agents and even some landlords to prove you've got a track record. And then you have to do some work to the property. And then you have to provide all of the furniture, because most of the time they're empty. Then you have to provide all the linens, all the styling, and everything else, which could cost several thousands of pounds. That's normally around 5k to get started, okay? It's normally around 5k. Now, the opportunity for you guys right now in 2020, in June, we're doing lots and lots of these deals every single week. We've done 2 on the same day, the other fucking day. Okay, now, you go onto the internet, you go onto Gumtree, you go onto OpenRent, you go anywhere that private landlords are advertising properties to rent. You contact them. The ones you want to contact are a particular type of property, particular type of landlord. Now, they're fully furnished, okay? Which typically means you're looking for properties that were already rented on Airbnb. They were already rented on Booking.com. They were already rented on HomeAway and every other OTA, every other booking platform, every other hotel website. These properties they needed to have been on. Why is that? They're fully furnished. They're up and running. They're already set up. They've got the kitchen, they've got the dining table, they've got the sofas, they've got the beds, they've got the linen, they've got the kettles, they've got the toasters. They've got everything in there you need to run them as a short let, and this is where the money is, okay? The landlord or landlady is already happy to run it as a short let because they were already running it as a fucking short let themselves. So what does that mean? Easy, less barriers, less hurdles, a level playing field. It's easier for you to break into this industry, to the market right now. Save the $5,000 on furnishing, dressing, styling, voids and everything else. Forget building, all of that crap. You can forget that because you can go shopping right now for properties on the internet, on Gumtree, on OpenRent and any other private rental platform that there is out there. Contact the landlords, look for the furnished ones, look for the towels on the bed, look for the towels in. You can tell what a holiday rental is, guys. I don't need to go into too much detail or waste any time. Look for her furnished holiday rentals. Look for the ones that are empty. The advert will say they're available from something like 1 to 4 months. Contact those landlords, talk to them, tell them, I want to book this property. My company wants to book it. We have lots of clients. We'll book it from you. We'll pay that set figure. We want to book it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. The maximum term that they are offering. And you just need consent to relocate your clients into that property. We're picking up multiple properties every single week like this on this basis. The other day we picked up 2 on the same day. Doing exactly this, contacting those landlords, contacting those agencies, reaching out to them, and what you'll find is anything that's empty, because most of them are, okay, anything that's empty, they're up for doing deals. Let me give you an example. Something that rents for around £2,000 a month in rent with the bills, we picked up the other day for, how much did we get that one for? Just around the corner. We picked that up for $1,550, including all of the bills. It used to be $2,000, the local market rent I'm talking about, not the short letting rent, the local market rent used to be around £2,000 a month, okay? It's a very nice apartment with parking in the city centre. It's on multiple floors. It's got 2 bedrooms, loads of bathrooms. Normally, it's around £2,000 just local market rent. We got it at $1,550, including the bills. The bills have got to be $300. So what does that leave it? We got it at about £1,250. That's £750 less on the local AST market rent. This is a short let that they haven't managed to let the landlord. It's sitting empty. The furniture's worth a fortune. The flat's worth about 600 grand. We picked it up for 1,550 to be able to use it as a short let, guys. As a short let. That flat will generate around about £3,500 a month for us with our clients. Around 3,500. That's one deal. We're paying 1,550. Around 3,500 that will generate right now. Even now, in the end or in the aftermath of the pandemic, we're about to come out of the lockdown. These deals are around, guys. I'm standing in another flat right now. Just a few doors away, we picked up another flat, a one-bedroom flat. Now, this flat usually rents for... What does that rent for? That's the one bed. It's right by the seafront. That would normally rent for about, with the bills, about 1,600. With the bills, about 1,600, okay? It's a one-bed flat with a garden, very good condition, sleeps 4 people, okay? Rents are around about 1,600, including the bills. We picked this flat up for 1,000, just over 1,000 and a few pence, 1,000, including all of the bills. So we've actually paid probably about 800. It's a one-bed. It normally rents for about 1,600. That's nearly half the fucking price. Towels on the bed. Soaps in the bathroom. Teas, coffee, condiments in the kitchen. It's already a short let. They failed. They haven't managed to find guests. They haven't managed to get bookings. They haven't managed to get clients. So we've approached them, done a deal with them, taken that property. That property is already filled. The same as the other one is already filled. These are deals that we've done in the last week, guys. There's 2 that I've just reeled off there to you. That last one makes around... Well, we're getting... How much are we getting a night for that one? The one bed, just around here. 120. More or less, 110, 120. Okay. Right, we're getting in the region of 110, 120 a night. Of course, we've got fees and other things to come off of that. Let's just call it a flat 100 after the fees. Now, across the course of the month, that's around 3 grand. We're paying 1,000. 1,000 in, 3,008 out. Remember that formula that I keep sharing. These deals, 1,000 in, 3,000 out. Every single month. This is how it works, guys. There's lots of these deals around. This is the deal structure. It's very simple. Find them on the line. Find them on the internet. Private rental advertising sites for these particular properties. Towels on the bed. They were on booking.com. They were on Airbnb, or maybe they still are. You call them, they're empty. They're offering 1 to 4 or 5 month rental periods. These are short lets. You call them, you say you have clients, you want to relocate your clients into that property, and you want to pay a set rent every single month, including the bills, for as long as you can get it for. Whether it sits empty, whether it's full, they get the same rent. And you just need consent to rotate your own guests, your own clients. Use their paperwork, use their booking form, use their short-term rental holiday agreement, use their license. All you need to get is that one sentence to consent that you can rotate your clients. This shit is easy, guys. We've picked up multiple deals in the last week alone. We do this every single week, day out, looking for deals, looking for opportunities, finding the angles, and this is where the angle is right now. I'm just sharing this with you guys, this tactic, this strategy to help anybody listening here make more fucking money, okay? Now, if you want to find more out about this or find more about this particular tactic, how to fill the rooms, how to fill the property, how to, structure everything else that you need to know, all you need to do is go to my website. It's called ryan-otto.com. Make sure you're subscribed to this podcast so you get these episodes, these tactics, every single day, Monday to Friday, in your inbox, okay? Delivered to your phone. Make sure you get the free ebook on that website. Scroll down near the bottom. There's 3 sections. One of them is the property crash course. It's 100% free. I go deep and explain more about this, guys. So you can go to my website, ryan-otto.com, to find that. Scroll down. Or you can just type in www.propertycrashcourse.com. replaceable.com. Everything is there that you need to help you make more money. And once again, we don't sell shitty courses. There's nothing for sale. Okay, so in this episode, I'm literally let me put that on silent. I'm answering a question from the audience, which has submitted a question on social media. Now, the question is how to make money right now in property. And I'm going to link that to another question, because another common question that you guys have asked as well is how to get started in property right now. Now, really, those two questions can be answered with one answer, so I'm going to link those two together. So, first of all, thank you guys for posting that question. How to make money right now in property and how to get started in property right now. So, okay. The best way that I know, I'm trying to answer this question objectively, in an unbiased way, okay? Because as you can imagine, you may have your favorite way of doing something. Somebody else might have their own preferred restaurant, place to dine. And then that could be completely different from somebody else who may prefer a different restaurant. The same for me. I could prefer a particular type of property investment strategy to make money that's maybe easier to me, to my skill set, compared to somebody else. So I'm actually going to try to answer this question objectively, to give you guys as much value as possible and to give you the best possible answer. Because for the last, 20 years, 2 decades that I've been investing in property, there's been, dozens and dozens and dozens of strategies that I've used that have all made money. Some have lost money, some have made more money than others. But, let me give you an example. Guaranteed rent, something I've been doing for a very, very, very long time, since mid-2000s, somewhere in the region of about 2004, something like that, which is very simple. Going to a landlord, paying one set rent, having permission and consent to re-let that property ethically with consent, so there's no subletting, and using simple arbitrage and charging more money and keeping the difference. That's one strategy that we've used. Then there's assisted sales. Somebody has a property for sale. They can't sell the property. There's not enough money in the property to buy the property, pay the stamp duty, pay for everything else, closing costs, carry the risk, and then sell the property. Like right now in this climate, 2020, there's a lot more risk involved. I mean, the market could fall by 20%. So let's say you've only got a 10% margin and the market falls by 20%. You've then not only lost all of your profit, you've also lost 10% as well. So some strategies work in some climates, some in other climates. But that's another one that we've used. Then you have option agreements. For example, there could be a bit of land that we've looked at. We think we can get planning permission on the land. Right now, it's just a garden, worthless piece of land, a couple of grand. But as a building plot, it's worth a couple of £100,000, okay? Just a small plot. Now, we would use an option to control that piece of property, that bit of land, which works very well in most climates, to be fair, where you pay one price or you secure it at one price, and then you agree to pay a higher price if or when you get the planning permission. As you can imagine, as a garden, it might be worth a couple of grand. As a building plot, it may be worth a couple of 100,000 or, even up to, 500,000, $1 million, depending on where it is and how big it is and how many properties you can build there, okay? And, so there's just 3 strategies, for example. We've used dozens and dozens and dozens of strategies since the year 2000 when I first got started. And for me to be impartial, I'm going to give you the best property strategy that I know that also works or dovetails with the other question, which is what works right now, how to get started in property right now. Now, many of you guys, my audience, listeners that have been listening to this podcast for a while, you may hear me saying the same thing, But that's because that's my truth. That is the truth. And this is what I preach to anybody who wants to get into property right now. Anybody who wants the easiest and fastest way to make money, real money from property right now, especially right now in 2020. I mean, this particular strategy, the barriers, the entry-level barriers have been removed, or they've been brought down so low that anybody wanting to get into property, to make money from property, to replace their salary right now, maybe just to generate some money, maybe just to generate a second income. Maybe this could be the only income they've got if they're furloughed or fired or on a 0-hour contract, or anything else with what's happening in the pandemic, which we're still in right now in June 2020. So this really is just me giving you everything that I can give you. This is the best strategy, the fastest strategy, lowest barriers to entry, lowest amount of money that it costs to get started. You don't need to buy a property. You don't need to be the owner. You don't need to put a big mortgage deposit down. You don't even need any credit whatsoever. And you can make 10 times what the landlord is making by doing this particular strategy. Now, you're probably wondering, oh my gosh, this sounds amazing. It sounds too good to be true. You're telling me it's so easy, etc. It's so easy to get in. Doesn't take a lot of money. It's very easy to get into. It doesn't take a lot of money at all. And this is a fantastic strategy to make money right now. Okay, what is this strategy? Very, very simple. Everybody here, well, maybe not everybody here, has anybody listening right now ever rented a property? That's a very simple question. If you answered yes to that, you'll know how simple it is to rent a property. You go to an agent or you go to a landlord direct on one of the private landlord websites. Now, you view the property, you like the property. You put an offer in to rent the property, normally the market rent. They send you some paperwork, you fill some paperwork in, you send it back, you send some money, you go to the property, you get the keys, maybe there's an inventory, maybe you meet an inventory clerk. You move in. That's it. It's that simple. What do you pay? 1 month's rent in advance, 1 month's rent as a deposit, or maybe even lower now. That's it. Let's say you find a property for £1,000 a month, okay? £1,000 a month. So you'd pay £1,000 to the landlord, and you'd probably give them around about £1,000 deposit as well. That's about £2,000. Is there any other property investment strategy that costs any less than £2,000 to get started, for you to make money? You will make that £2,000 back, guaranteed within 3 months. Guaranteed within 3 months. So just think of this as an investment vehicle. All of the money you put in today, which is very, 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 very low, you're almost guaranteed, as long as you execute and do what you need to do, you're almost guaranteed to get it back in less than 3 months. Does that sound like a good deal to you? Get it back within 3 months. So you're now into profit straight away, and within 3 months, you've got all your money out. Now, I think that's a very, very good deal. And let me give you an example of what I mean by that and what I mean by this particular strategy. Very simple. Renting a property from a landlord or an agent. Asking for consent to re-let that property to run as a short let, as a holiday let, as a corporate let, for sharers, on a one nightly basis, or just on a short-term rental contract. I'm not talking HMO. I'm not talking about anything like that. I'm just talking about renting a property from a landlord or an agent, getting consent to re-let that property, paying one low rent, charging a higher rent. How do you get the higher rent? You get the higher rent by renting the property on a short-term basis, 1 month at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 night at a time. If you go onto booking.com, have a look at what a 1-bedroom apartment or a 2-bedroom apartment or a 3-bedroom house rents for per night. In your city, whatever city you live in, have a look in your postcode. Let's just say, look at your postcode, whatever city you live in, go onto booking.com, have a look at the closest property similar to your property. This is really good, actually. Look for your exact property that you're in right now, whether you own it or you rent it. Similar, like for like. It's got 2 bedrooms, look for 2 bedrooms. It's got 3 bathrooms, look for 3 bathrooms. It's a penthouse, look for a penthouse. It's a 4-bedroom detached house. Look for that on booking.com, okay? Have a look how much it rents for per night. Monday to Friday will be one rate. Sunday to Friday will be one rate. Fridays will be a little bit more. Saturdays will be a lot more, okay? Have a look at what that rents for per night. When you've got that figure, times that figure by however many nights there are in a year, 365. Now, that's obviously at 100% occupancy, which we don't get, or we do get that in the summer, but you don't get that all year round. We're at 84% occupancy with our short lets, okay? Now, if you have a look at even 75% to be conservative, okay? Now look at that figure you've got on your calculator, times it by 75%. Now you have that figure. That's the figure per year that your property you're in right now, whether you own it or you rent it, that's the figure that will rent at. Now, I can guarantee that when you're looking at that figure will be around about 2 to 250% above the market rent for the property that you're in right now. 2 to 250% more than the property that you're in right now above what the market or the asking rent is. So when you look at those two numbers, okay, let's just say 200% to keep it simple. The market rent could be 1,000. That means you would get 2,000. If the market rent was 2,000, it would mean that you could get 4,000. That's being modest and conservative at 200%. Ours is more than that, okay? The percentage that we get is more than that. But let's just say for this exercise, it's a couple of 100%. So £1,000 of rent, £2,000 profit, I'm talking about, the extra uplift. So actually 1,000 would rent for 3,000, and the difference would be 2,000. I don't want to get confused in there to confuse you guys. So there's a couple of £1,000 difference there. From that couple of £1,000, of course, you have running costs, you have operational costs, you have booking.com fees. If you use booking.com, Airbnb is a lot less money. Booking.com charges more money, but they have the bigger market share. And they spent around $5 billion last year on advertising and marketing. So really, you want to be on booking.com. Anyway, £1,000 now actually rents for £3,000 and generates around about £2,000 a month gross profit. Can you see where I'm going with this? Can you see why this is the easiest and the fastest way to make money right now in 2020? You rent a property from a landlord. You take it, you pay the market rent, 1,000. We're using 1,000 for this exercise. You take it out of that market, the AST market, you put it on the short-term rental market, which is literally just Airbnb or Booking.com, where people, guests, travelers, companies, corporates, clients, land tenants, anybody at all who needs accommodation can rent from 1 night to 1 month, okay? 1 night to 1 month. When you rent in micro stays 1 night to 1 month, you charge and you get to achieve a lot more money. A lot more money, around about a couple of 100% more in monetary terms by running the property as a short let. Remember, you don't need a mortgage. You don't need a mortgage deposit. You don't need any credit. You don't need to pay a mortgage deposit. You don't need to jump through any hoops and have a solicitor or have any red tape. You haven't got any risk because all of the risk is with the landlord, the owner, that's already paid the money, already got the mortgage, he's already on his variable fluctuation, his mortgage rate that goes up and down with the climate, etc. He covers the maintenance, he covers the repairs, he covers any, structural things, he covers a boiler and everything else. So you're getting everything and only paying the local market rent. You're making more money every single month than the landlord. Trust me. All you need to do, guys, if you're looking for how to make money in property right now, it's called service accommodation. We've been doing this for a very, 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 very long time. We've just acquired 5 more deals recently during the pandemic with one of my joint venture partners. I'm looking at, how many more deals today? How many more? Okay, I'm going on 3 or 4 viewings in a moment after this episode. 3 o'clock, I'm off to 3 or 4 more viewings, and I know before I've even gone to the viewings, I'll be taking 1, if not 2 of those properties. Paying the local market rent, charging a lot more by taking the property out of one market, AST market, and putting it on booking.com or Airbnb, renting the property per night. This is the fastest way I know for any of you guys to make money from property right now, to build up your cash pot in property right now, to save for a mortgage deposit right now, and then you can roll that money on to another deal once you've built up your cash pot. Let's just say you're making £1,000 a month from each of these properties. That's £12,000 a year from one. Imagine you had 2 of those, that's £24,000 a year. 4 of them is £48,000 a year that you can just save up in your cash pot if really you want to then buy some property. Use this, create cash flow, create money, create freedom, create choice, create income, create stability, create financial freedom to create whatever you want to create, or go and buy a bloody Lamborghini, whatever makes you happy. This is the fastest way I know for anybody to make money from property right now. The end.
He's a #1 Amazon bestseller. He's an NLP manipulator. He's a property course seller. He's a Lamborghini driving multi-millionaire property guru. Forget that same old boring I am me narcissistic podcast format, because nobody gives a fuck. This podcast is all about you. So I'm taking these few seconds to thank you for subscribing, to thank you for leaving your 5-star reviews, and thank you for sharing this show with all of your friends. My team and I will keep bringing you these episodes and answering all of your burning questions in my Facebook community group called Property Crash Course. If you can just keep telling all of your friends about this show.